in this video: made-up controversy, my resignation from the UK government, and Apple lockdown mode goes full secure. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. So there's a few things that we need to talk about in today's video, and this is not like the normal scripted video until we get to one of the parts later on. But first of all, manufactured controversy. Now, we've talked in previous videos about the stuff that's been going on with Mac's tech and the overheating of the MacBook Pro with M2 inside, and as I said right from the beginning, I don't think this is a big issue. I don't think it's the issue that everyone's been talking about. And it is a very specific situation with 8K video. Now, I am not disputing the fact that this particular chip did get very, very hot when it was being used in that particular way with that particular codec and those particular LUTs. However, it turns out that Mac's tech had actually planned to make a video about the problems with M2, the big problems with M2, before they even had an M2 MacBook Pro. Let's take a look at this quick clip from the Genius Bar podcast.
Little Birdie told me, and by Little Birdie, I mean, they said it themselves on Twitter, they had a problems video planned before they even got the machine.
What?
Yeah, they tweeted that publicly thinking that was going to be fine to say out loud.
I mean, anything for the clicks.
Can you find
it's crazy,
Sam?
bro.
Pull up the tape.
Yeah. And I've got to be honest, yes, these kind of videos will get a lot of clicks, and that's basically what Mac's Tech are trying to do, because that's what you do when you're on YouTube. You do try to get clicks, because that's your job when you're on YouTube, is to get people to click on your video so that you can talk to them and so that you can kind of talk about the stuff. But there's a difference between talking about things that are really happening and things that happen in the most edge case that are not going to affect people that buy these systems. And I think that's what's happened here, is they've actually taken it too far. They've taken it to the point where they're just finding a reason to complain. They knew that they wanted to make a video about problems with M2, and then they tried to find ways that they could kind of break it to show that there were problems. Does that feel right? I don't think so, but it's what happened. So, Mac's Tech, if Vadim, if you want to come on the show, if you want to make a statement, you want to tell us why you did what you did, why you think that it's a valid thing to show, please do. Send me a video clip, come on the show, we'll chat. But for now, it just feels icky. Anyway, that out of the way, the other big elephant in the room at the moment, especially for someone with an accent like mine, is Boris Johnson. He has finally quit as the Prime Minister, or is about to as I record this, and I don't want to take full credit for it, but I posted this on Twitter, and within 5 minutes of it, we heard that Boris Johnson had resigned. So I don't want to say that it was all on me, but I think maybe the straw that broke the camel's back. But I just didn't want to find out that I'd been appointed as the Minister for Agriculture before lunchtime without realising. So he's gone. That's all moved on. So let's get into some actually Apple stuff. So yesterday, Apple released their third developer betas for iOS 16 with major unannounced features included, which are basically perfect if you want to be a spy. This is lockdown mode, and at least lockdown mode was unannounced at WWDC, where the rest of iOS 16 was announced, along with new versions of macOS, iPadOS, and the rest of Apple's software platforms. But they did post about this on their newsroom site yesterday, and I quote, "Apple is previewing a groundbreaking security capability that offers specialized additional protections to users who might be at risk of highly targeted cyber attacks from private companies developing state-sponsored mercenary spyware. Apple is also providing details of its $10 million grant to bolster research exposing such threats." Now, Apple is serious about this being really secure as well, because they're also doubling their maximum bounty to a maximum of $2 million if you find a vulnerability in this lockdown mode as well. Now, what does lockdown mode actually do, and should you use it? Well, the answer to the second part for almost everyone is no, you shouldn't use it. Lockdown mode on macOS, iOS, and iPadOS will block most types of message attachments apart from images and stop you getting link previews, which basically is a way of stopping anything being executed on your phone without your explicit action. That means that links that get sent to you, you won't be able to see what's behind them. So, It might make it more difficult to know what is behind a link, but it will also stop any of it being executed on your phone, i.e. loading any of that preview page without you physically doing it. Just in time, JavaScript will be disabled in web browsers, which might well break some websites. It will stop people from FaceTiming you if you didn't FaceTime them before, block wired connections to computers while your phone is locked, and stop custom profiles like the Apple Beta program or mobile device management profiles for businesses being installed. So who is it for? Basically, journalists in places where freedom of speech might be curtailed or reporting could put them at risk, politicians, and other people that could have been targeted by Pegasus spyware software which was used by various governments. So if you value extreme privacy over anything else, go for it, but expect severe limitations on the apps that you install and the way that you can use your phones. So next up, those betas. Beta 3 was when we were expecting Apple to first release public beta versions, so I guess they're just making sure that there aren't any huge issues that show up when the first developers install this version before releasing it to the rest of us, and that's just fine. Public betas need to be a bit more stable than the developer versions, as there are huge numbers of us out there with no technical knowledge who are going to go ahead and install them because they want the bleeding edge cool. And yes, of course, I will be one of those people too. Now, I'd guess they will be out tomorrow for the rest of us, which is when you can also order your MacBook Air with M2 inside. Exciting times. Are you planning to order? Let me know in the comments. And speaking of comments, here is one with an Icave answer in it. Alan B Unboxing is in News asks, Icave answers, will Apple ever put M2 on the Mac Mini, Mac Pro or iPad Pro? So yes, of course, the M2s that we've seen so far are just the very first versions of this, and we are expecting to get M2 Mac Minis, M2 MacBook Pros with M2 Pro and M2 Max, hopefully M2 Pros going into Mac Minis as well. I know there's some people that are a little bit dubious on whether they'll do this now, and I understand why, because Apple has dragged their feet, and we never got an M1 Pro Mac Mini or M1 Max Mac Mini. The Maxes obviously are going into the studio systems now, but I think we are going to get M2 Pro in a Mac Mini. And as we talked about in a previous show, with the Mac Mini M2, or the redesign that we've seen, it looks like it's got the same power connector as the iMacs, therefore they're taking the power supply out of the Mac Mini box itself, which gives more room for cooling, which means you can put a more powerful chip in there. Nice. That's what we want. I do think the iPad Pros will be getting it as well, especially now that we've got M1 in the iPad Airs. This could be as soon as September, October time. Probably October, I would say, so that they can talk about M2 and then move on to the M2 Pros and M2 Maxes for the MacBook Pros at the same event. That makes a lot of sense, and also probably getting our iMacs with M2 inside as well. And I do think we're going to get M2 Pro in there, as we mentioned in a previous video. So thank you so much for watching. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer in a future video, so we only had one today, which was shocking, let me know down in the comment section. Hashtag #IcaveAnswers. Thanks to all the beautiful Patreons over here, and we'll see you in the next one. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell.